Good morning once again and welcome to this next edition of Tourismus Namibia. My name is Frank Steffen, as you can see there on the screen, and I'll be presenting the show as always, where we bring you a few topics, introduce you to a couple of destinations, and then obviously today especially I feel we've got a very interesting contribution under To The Point. So first up, it's obviously topics. Right, welcome back. Like I said, every Sunday we bring you a couple of news as regards tourism and environment, but in Namibia we always remain suckers for rain. So I brought you a map today which shows you the way that the Ongwediva River runs. So if we look at the bigger map, you will see that it basically comes all the way from almost at Otavi. That area goes past Uchu, and this is where we now see it. It's quite just a little bit up from Uys, and it goes on, it flows along the northern side of the Brandberg, which is obviously the biggest mountain in Namibia. And then it goes all the way down towards the sea. It basically is the delineation which shows the two regions, where the bottom one is the Irongo region and the upper one is the Kunene region. So if we go to the next slide, you will see it's like going through the middle of the Namib Desert as it flows into the Atlantic Ocean. So on the internet I saw, it was actually a WhatsApp little video clip that I got hold of, which basically just shows for the first time in a long time that it has actually reached the Atlantic Ocean. So just have a look.
Beautiful river. Look how it flows. So nice. So nice.
Yeah, people are sometimes a bit surprised that we suddenly have antelope or something that approach the sea, but I mean that's obviously what happens. They follow the flow of the river and they've got enough vegetation to feed on, and then suddenly when you look again you suddenly have a gemsbok right in the middle of nowhere. So anyway, so I just thought I'd share that with you. And the next thing that I want to talk about is MEFT has basically released a report this week, and they're celebrating 30 years of success. It obviously applies. It launched a campaign and publishes information brochures and, you know, celebrates, like I said, 30 years of uninterrupted conservation, which they call 3 decades of conservation campaign. So Minister Shifeta, who you see here on the photo, that's the Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Pohamba Shifeta. He focused on the area of sustainable municipal care and maintenance, or actually communal care, I would say. And he has, obviously as the responsible in Ministry of for environmental impact assessments, he, to my mind, failed to mention the stuff that they didn't get right. Stuff like Recon Africa and those sort of incomplete environmental assessments which they did in the Kavango region. But be it as it may, so the 30-year environmental conservation campaign aims to basically celebrate Namibia's achievements in conserving its natural resources, basically after 32 years of independence. Shifeta also took the opportunity to introduce the second National Integrated State of Environment report, which you can see there, that was the front page, and even added the National Conservation and Law Enforcement report for 2021. So, but the launch of the 30-year of the 3 decades of conservation campaign fits in well with this year's 30th anniversary of the 1992 Rio Conference. That is obviously the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, which was held in Rio de Janeiro in those years. So it is obviously a fitting report to come out at such a state. And but the fact is, this is now the second report. And like I said, to my mind, it focuses obviously on the successes, which it should. But then my problem is that at the same time, it should also at least mention the challenges that they have. Challenges like Recon Africa up in the Kavango, and then obviously also stuff like the uranium search that they've got going on down at Stampriet. Anyway, so the next thing that I also wanted to talk about was the environmental education. This is becoming a priority in Namibia, and it was just a bit sad, I felt, that because it was all on the same day and more or less the same time that they, on the one hand, had the 30-year campaign, and then at another place they spoke about this environmental education that has to become a priority for Namibia now. So the MEFT Chief Executive Officer quoted from the Constitution, and it seemed a bit funny to me that he spoke to the point that he says that in our Namibian Constitution we provide for the protection of our environment, and then at the same time he's the one who approved the environmental impact assessments for Kavango, and also allowed the people to search for uranium down at in the south. Now that seems a bit funny because, let's face it, observers and experts have been complaining about the acute lack of education in the field of sustainable use at all levels for years and years. And they've often pointed out to the importance of an improved level of education among authorities and officials specifically. So I always like quoting the well-known political scientist, Professor Andre Dupasani, who at one stage during an IPPR discussion pointed out that he can't understand that politicians and civil servants always expected themselves to know everything, or at least pretended that they knew everything, and instead of relying on contributions from specialists so as to advise them and make sure that they arrive at a balanced decision, they simply plod on, and you sometimes have that. And so this is actually a good idea to look at environmental education in Namibia, start at school level, so that at least when the next people start taking the reins, which will probably still be a number of years, at least then they are ready. Now what bugged me about that conference was everybody was onto this 30-year MEFT and conservation product, but nobody seemed to put as much emphasis on this environmental education, which is a shame because all the people had run off to telling us how good they are, but this very important part, suddenly no executive director was available. All the speeches were read out by people that were sent there rather than the people that had been invited. So it suddenly became a bit of a, almost a second class type initiative, which it shouldn't be. I almost think it's more important to have this education going on sustainable development, sustainable use, all those sort of things. They're 3 times more important than pointing out to the fact that we've been looking after the environment for 30 years, especially if we have not always done that so successfully. So maybe these 2 occasions should have been combined, in fact. Anyway, so it basically touches the Ministry of Education, and then obviously also the Ministry of Environment, and UNESCO is a big supporter of it. And so I felt it was a shame that not all the big, the chiefs of those departments were not there. Not even UNESCO came to present themselves, and they simply sent a public relations officer. And I thought it didn't serve this whole opportunity well. Anyway, so those are our topics for this week. Up next, we've got destinations. Yeah, welcome back. And like always on these shows, we try not to only pinpoint to the obvious target groups, but we also like to point to different lodges, different places to stay, places to visit. And that's why I always invite my colleagues from out in the country to actually give us an indication of what is going on in their area. So in this case, we've got Bennies Entertainment Park and Lodge. This is something that you find in Ongwediva. Here, this is obviously from far above. On the left-hand side, you see Otjikoto, and then towards your top right there, that is Ongwediva. And Benny's center is where that little red dot is. This was just to sort of put it a bit into perspective, because if we look at that area, we just realize how close it actually is to the Ongwediva Trade Fair site, and close to Ben's buildings, supplies those who know that area. So if we look at the next photo, we'll actually see this is much closer. This is where the turnoff is, and there you see Ben's buildings and OTF. So it's very close to it. There's a service station right at the turnoff there. So from there up to Benny's Entertainment Center is no more than maybe a kilometer or a kilometer and a half. So I just still zoomed in a bit closer so that you can see that it is quite a big site, and it's got a huge entertainment component. But as you can see there are quite a nice number of entertainment rooms and places to stay. Obviously also lodging, and you can even have your conference there. So this thing has been going on for years and years, and it's well liked. It calls itself one of the premier entertainment, leisure parks and accommodation, as well as conference sites in Southern Africa. So as you can see here, it's quite a nice site, very clean, and I've stayed there before, and I like the place. So if you go to Ongwediva, or you've got to go to Otjikoto, this is surely one of the better places to go and visit. You can see there's a huge slide down there into a separate pool and so on. So it's a very pleasant site. But we've got Tuyaima Handula. She's a colleague of mine. She actually prepared a video for us.
Hello, my name is Laban Lazarus. I'm working at Bennies Park as a banqueting supervisor. This is our conference hall. As you can see, this one was the setup for NCCI, Namibia Chamber of Commerce in Industry. And this one is costing about just 800. It's on station. Normally it used to be 1,400 somewhere there. And then the entrance is for 3, but the use of the swimming pool is $20 per day. I'm cleaning the room and the bed. Yeah. 350. Here's the toilet and shower. This one is another room. The price is 250. This one is a toilet and shower. Okay. So the price is 300. Betul dulu yang 1,600.
Yeah, that's the Ongwediva Entertainment Park and Lodge. And like I said, one always seems to think that because it's far up in the north, you need to camp. You don't. If you've just returned from Angola and you have camped for a week or two, it's actually quite a nice change to be able to park your car inside a yard and just get it basically cleaned up again and just resort your whole logistical situation. And if you've got kids, they can at least go for a swim or go and play. So not to be disregarded. It's a nice little stop, and it's close to Otjikoto. I know people always think that those sites don't have tourism sites. They do. And if you Google, there's lots to do in and around those areas, and especially to also get to know the people and see how they live and what they do. It's a different culture, and like I also often said, people go to up to Kenya to get to, and Tanzania to go and meet the Maasai. I wouldn't know any good reason why they should meet our people. So if you go up there, that's a place where you can possibly stay. Anyway, so up next, we've got a totally different approach. Adam Hartman, he's one of my colleagues down in Swakopmund, and he's decided to reintroduce the Namib Tourism Information Center. The Namib is situated in central Swakopmund, and really it is as in centrally situated, and is the perfect place, as they say, to find out whatever you need to know as regards the coast and around the surrounding areas, but actually also Namibia. So Adam basically spoke to Almut Styles, who's been in that trade for years and years. So maybe just have a look at the video.
There we go. Almut Styles.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine yourself. Welcome here at Namib.
Excellent. Thank you. Almut, thanks for having us. Tell us a bit about Namib. You say it's the oldest tourism information center in Namibia. What's the history?
That is correct. Namib was founded as a non-profit organization somewhere in 1978 by the municipalities of Swakopmund, Walvis Bay, and lots of people who were then getting, involved in tourism around here, businesses, smaller tour operators, etc. And it's grown from there tremendously. Mm-hmm. Today it's not a non-profit organization anymore because I think our towns and cities and country has got lots of other problems instead of just doing tourism marketing. And we do have an NTB today, so Namib is not part of that. I privatized it in 2006 when the town councils and many others indicated that it's becoming a burden as such. And I privatized it under the name of Namib and doing exactly the same work as before, funding myself, and it's working magic.
Yeah.
Last 2 years were a bit heavy. We had to downscale like everybody else, but we are feeling very positive about the future that we will carry on for hopefully the next 50 years. Not with me then, but for I think a few years to go myself as well.
Now, Almut, it's in the middle of town. It's easily accessible for tourists. I see when you look at the shop. There's a lot of creative products and things here. What exactly can people expect when they come here? What is this service all about?
Okay, my service, first of all, is about information, reservations, information about everything regarding roads, bookings, daylight times, when the parks are open, where to get what permit, basically any information. That information is for free. Then we also offer the service of reservations. We are not a travel agent as such. That means I do not book flights from Germany to here or from South Africa to here, but we do reservations wherever here in the country, in the full country. So we're not only a Swakopmund information center as such.
Okay.
And then we have taken hands with our neighbors from next door. They have this fantastic artwork here everywhere, and that was part of my downscaling, and they coming on board with me by putting literally an art gallery here. It is not just the art gallery, obviously the art that is here can be bought. A lot of it is from Namibian artists, some magnificent stuff. If you take, for instance, this motorbike here, made by hand by a gentleman living here in Swakopmund, and all the other things. Then there is artwork over there from a Namibian artist as well, well-known living here at Swakopmund. I am not supposed to mention names here, I think, at the moment, before some other artists start clapping me for giving too much away.
Yeah.
And it's working fine because now tourists come in here, they get helped, and at the same time they can get their couriers, they can get maps, they can get whatever they need and travel on from here. A service I also offer to a lot of tourists, I give them my cell phone number. That means if en route anywhere in the country they get into trouble, they're welcome to phone me, contact me, and I'll try and help wherever possible.
What is your cell phone number, that
My
special
cell
number?
phone number is 081
Yeah.
255 1513.
Right. So, but
Yeah.
you're basically the walking, talking yellow pages for tourism in Swakopmund.
I am not the yellow pages, but I normally know where to find the information that people need.
Okay.
And I guess that's the main reason. I don't know everything, but I know where to find what people want to know.
Excellent. Almut, thanks for having us, and all of the best.
Wonderful, and come in again.
Yes, we will.
See you.
Yeah, we actually had to smile just now because while this video was running, Oscar pointed out to me that I was a bit fast on you today. Normally we always give you an indication of where we're taking you. So if you look at the map that we'll bring up now, then you'll see exactly where Namib is. As I said, it's right in the center of town. You see the jetty going out at the bottom there, and at the top you see the mauler. So it's very close to the amphitheater, that road leading down towards the amphitheater as you go northwards there. But point is, it's very centrally situated. Here you can see it, the amphitheater. It is just up, what is it, about 600 meters down the road, whatever it is. So that is the Namib. If you ever come to Swakopmund and you need some additional information, I suppose that's where you can go and find out more. Like I said, it's right in the center of town. It's very close to supermarkets and so on. So anyway, here you've got a quick impression, a couple of photos still of what it looked like in there. You will remember it from the video clip as well. Anyway, so that's Namib. So we just thought that we at least had to give you that part as well. And those are our two destinations. Like I said, destinations does not always have to be a lodge or a guest farm or whatever. It's sometimes only stuff that makes your stay more amiable, more pleasant when you come to Namibia, and or gives you some indication of where you can turn to if you need information or different holiday ideas and so on. So we hope to always serve you in that way. Up next is To the Point. So most of you are very likely to have never heard about the Otjikoto Nature Reserve and Educational Center. And well, we obviously know about it because we've been writing about B2 Gold mine, which is obviously found just as you drive from Otjikoto up to Otavi. And B2 Gold is obviously very involved in Namibia. And the reason why I'm talking about this, there are quite a number of people out there that are under the impression that we of Tourismus Namibia are principally set against mining. And with this contribution, I would like to correct that impression, because some of people believe it, but we're not there. The tourism team also gets up in the morning and immediately starts using facilities made of all types of material that have been mined. And we also start our petrol engines and drive to work, or in fact, drive around the country and visit interesting sites in Namibia. What we are set against is when mining companies circumvent existing rules so as to mine in an area that is a principal part of a biodiverse nature reserve. And so they will sit with long-lasting damage on account of mining, and then that does not fit in. So to my mind, that applies to Recon Africa, which is mining in the Kavango Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, in short known as the Kaza Park. And this is obviously because there we find some of the largest free-roaming herds of elephant that are left in the world, and other animals. So, and it would also apply to the Russian outfit that is seriously considering the mining for uranium in the water-sensitive area of the Stumpriet aquifer, as I said earlier already. So if renowned geologists and mining experts warn us against such projects, then surely there is a problem. Now, if you look at the photos that we've just showed you there, those are B2 Gold initiatives. And my colleague, Ongwediva Craig, visited B2 Gold and shows us in a video and interview how that company does it totally differently, because they, for example, have supported the Rhino Trust, as you can see there all over the show. Remember the gold bar auction? Was a very well received initiative by B2 Gold, where they auctioned these specially printed gold bars, and the money went to the Rhino Trust. So on their website, B2 Gold says that they are a low-cost international senior gold producer headquartered in Vancouver, Canada. So they too come from Canada, and it shows that not every mining company that comes from Canada is bad. They have 3 operating gold mines and numerous development and exploration projects in various countries, amongst them obviously Namibia, but also Mali and Philippines, Colombia, Finland, and Uzbekistan even. And they forecast a gold production to be between 990,000 and 1,050,000 ounces. So the difference for me is that they plow back as well. So they don't only take, they are doing exactly what is supposed to happen, where mining obviously needs to make money because you've got investors involved, and obviously we all need the stuff that they make, but there must be a proper social responsibility program. And they certainly have done that with their Otjikoto Nature Reserve and Educational Center. It is intended for our people. That's where they can learn their trade and obviously become involved in the hospitality sector. But have a look at the video.
Wayne Ratman, I'm the reserve manager for B2 Gold. We are now at Otjikoto Nature Reserve, the Education Center. I want to tell you a little bit more about what we've been doing here. Let's start with the negative context that people always talk about is mining. Now everything that we use every day, that we love and that we use, is either grown or it's mined. So what B2 Gold decided to do here back in 2012 is we started to actually develop this badly neglected hunting farm into a reserve to demonstrate that mining and conservation can coexist if it's done in a responsible way. So we started with this reserve, increasing the biodiversity. We brought in a lot of species, creating this reserve. The reserve is just under 12,000 hectares now, and we've got basically four concepts going here. It's the game ranch management itself. We've got an education center. We've got a research facility here for students. Every year we provide training to the Namibia University Science and Technology students. Then we've got the rehabilitation part, which is on the farm outside the reserve, where we do constant seedlings for rehabilitation work on the mine. And then lastly, the agricultural part, which is also outside the reserve. We are currently planting maize and fodder. Maize mostly to address food security in Namibia. So yeah, that is what we've been doing here. We've been busy now since 2012, and B2 Gold's vision is to leave this behind, as their legacy, in future afterlife of mine.
And the reserve is also growing, extending back to take land back from the mine.
Yes, we're constantly taking back. About 2 years ago, we took away or reclaimed 800 hectares. As we're going underground now, the possibility is there that we can add more to the reserve. Constantly lessening the footprint of what mining has on the area.
My name is Mia Kavachani. I'm the Environmental Research and Rehabilitation Coordinator at B2 Gold Namibia's Otjikoto Nature Reserve. This is where we are today. I am responsible for the environmental research on the reserve, which basically focuses on research that aims to improve management of the reserve in terms of fauna and flora, also supporting rehabilitation efforts on the mine site, and also just supporting the general rehabilitation that aims at ensuring sustainability and the continuity of the existence of the reserve going forward. It's being here has really been a beautiful journey, and the beauty of it all has been being able to serve on this dual system where you have a mine next to a conservation area. And so often people think of mining as destructive and then conservation as the savior of biodiversity and everything. So being part of both systems is an amazing journey that allows you to, on a daily basis, come up with new questions that you need to assess. You look at something different and ways of improvement. So that has really been quite an awesome process to be a part of. So you get to be part of the mine operations and then also the conservation operations, which are aimed at sort of rehabilitating or supporting what comes after the mine.
My name is Paulo Samuel. I'm the CSI Education Specialist at B2 Gold Namibia. Welcome to the Little Shop of Physics Center. The Little Shop of Physics it was copied from Colorado State University. In 2016 we invited Little Shop of Physics from Colorado State University to come and train our teachers in Namibia. Since then we established our own Little Shop of Physics in Namibia. This center we train teachers to use everyday materials. In fact, the Little Shop of Physics show young and adults that science, physics can, and everybody can learn physics.
I'm the Environmental Education Officer for Otjikoto Nature Reserve. That's B2 Gold. What we usually do here at B2 Gold is quite a lot, different activities and different programs that we run. We teach kids of a different level of education, from grade 6 or 12 years age and above up to grade 12. Mostly it's environmental education, whereby we have an outdoor, and most of our activities are practical learning. And of course we have got the program which is very in demand now. It's the leadership for the prefects and LRCs. So far this year, 2022, we've already hosted about 150 learners. That is 6 schools, including Pioneers Boy, Karundu Primary School, Osako Secondary School, and we're looking forward to have more schools. Our calendar is quite packed this year, so we might reach our target of 1,200 learners a year. So far, that's what we are looking into. Yeah. This is the wilderness camp. It's a wilderness camp where we do our teaching here with the learners, different school, and that's the main area over there. The tents are here. On the other side is we basically have 2 sides. This side is for the boys. On the other side, it's for the girls. So we accommodate about 24 learners and at least 2 teachers that are guiding the learners, and a driver. So this is the main area. So our activities are happening here. And on the other side, it's the ablution facility, where it's for both male and female. So most of our lectures are happening under the trees there. We sit under the trees. We do all our outdoor activities over that side. So yeah, that's wilderness camp. It's a very good camp for learners. They experience quite a lot, especially on environmental education. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just said to my producer here, Oscar, the value of these videos is not that they're highest quality always, but that they are on site and you can actually see what's happening there and then. It's not something that was produced for for people to, think, is it a promotional video or something? This is what our people find out. That's where they go. They find out. They speak to the people, and it is the truth. And so I must be honest. I think that B2Gold is on the right way as far as their social responsibility programs are concerned, because they do not only support environmental issues such as the Rhino Trust. I know that they've got quite a number of schools that they support financially. There are quite a number of other programs that they are busy with. So kudos to them. I really think they're doing well. So that was a different approach to the point today. So I hope you enjoyed it. And that brings us to the end of this show for this week. Hopefully we'll be back next week, same time, same place. Until then, look after yourself and remain healthy, because just remember, just because we're out of the woods for the moment with COVID-19, there's still every reason to be aware that it still can come to bite us again. So just look after yourself. I'll be seeing you next Sunday again. Until then, stay well. Bye.